Good morning and welcome to another edition of Mark's Inspiration. Glad you could join me here today as always. I've been traveling. I was down in Cancun for a couple days with a beautiful young lady. Much needed rest and relaxation. But now I'm back and today's topic is going to be letting herself go. And we'll get into that right after this. Like and subscribe. Do it now. You have to be strong enough to endure these things. You have to approach women. With today's social media, she's constantly being hit on. Women are always in the game. You have to stay focused. We are men. That's what we do. All right. Letting herself go. What do I mean by that? Well, the girl that I was with down in Cancun has not let herself go, but she's had no kids yet. She's 22, in great shape, goes to the gym, works out, and at that age they party a lot, so they're usually running and gunning. But what happens when a woman gets married? She finds that man of her dreams and she gets pregnant and has a couple kids. What happens? What usually happens is they let themselves go. They get fat, they get a bunch of stretch marks, they don't take care of their body while they're pregnant, and then they say, well, I'm eating for two, and I couldn't help it. After I had my first kid or two, my body went to hell. Well, it went to hell because she quit taking care of herself. And they expect a man to accept that. Now, I've seen women that have had kids. I remember one woman, I think she had like 5 kids. She was out in a swimsuit. You could not tell she ever had a child because she respected herself enough to take care of herself. Now, I believe there are women, though, that their hips will spread out a little bit when they get pregnant. I think that's just from being pregnant. When I seen them, they hadn't gained much weight, so that may be an exception there. But that's not getting fat. That's not having stretch marks all over yourself. You can use oils, and they make ointments to reduce or even eliminate the stretch marks. And the stretch marks are from gaining so much weight. It's not from the baby so much. Now, if you see a woman who has a baby and she does it, let's say, normally or not normally in the U.S. because they eat a lot. They're encouraged to eat a lot. Oh, you're eating for 2. But most of the time it seems like they're eating for 10 and they gain 60, 80, 100 pounds or more. And you have a hell of a lot of stretch marks. The same as I would. If I gained that much weight in a short amount of time, in 9 months, I would have stretch marks. Actually, I used to have a couple of stretch marks or a few on my legs because back in my early 20s, I developed an overeating habit from starving myself to make weight for boxing and then binging and purging. So yeah, hey, I'm responsible. I got those because I was not taking care of myself and I was overeating. Same with women. Now, their belly does stretch, but it doesn't really get that big if they're not overeating. Excuse me. There's a certain amount of water weight they carry, of course, along with the baby weight, but it's not 40 or 50 or 100 pounds, which is so readily accepted here in the U.S. If you look in other countries, Colombia, the Ukraine, many of those women have had children. You can't even tell because they took care of themselves, because they knew they needed a man. And they know that men are attracted, I'm joking here, excuse me, they know that men, I need some water, are attracted to beauty. So I have to ask myself if, and this, what brought this on was a man made a post. And he said that you should accept that she's more concerned about the kids and you shouldn't be concerned about her being overweight or having terrible stretch marks, that's just part of her. What basically to me, it's like telling us to accept the fact that she didn't respect herself enough to take care of herself. That's what it is. What is the difference between that and me saying, well, honey, I work hard all day, and if I come home and sit my ass on the couch for 5 hours and watch TV and don't do anything, I mean, hey, I'm out there working for you. I'm providing food. I'm thinking about my family. I'm providing for you guys a home, food, clothing, everything. And I get home, I'm tired. And then the woman might say, well, honey, but when we were together, when we were dating, you were ambitious. You would work all day and we'd go out on a date. We'd have a good time. Or you'd be working on your other projects. You had a vision. You had a purpose. What's the difference? What's happened to the man is he's become comfortable. He's got his wife. He's got his kids. He doesn't need anymore. He's got everything secured. So he comes home. He sits on the couch. He doesn't have ambition anymore. His ambitions are gone. He spends maybe one day a week with his buddies, drinking or partying or hanging out. The rest of the time he comes home, sits on the couch. He figures that his duty is done because he's providing and protecting for his family. And that's it. You know what happens when a man does that? That woman starts looking around for someone else. Or she gets bored, or she just is very unhappy and miserable. Okay? What's the difference between that and the woman just letting herself go after she got pregnant and had a couple kids and said, well, honey, I'm just really taking care of my kids. What does it matter? You should just love me for who I am. Now, I know a lot of women would probably bash me for this or think I'm misogynist or whatever they want to think, but I don't care. The bottom line is she let herself go. And the man, the same way. If he's doing that, he's let himself go. And then they lose respect for themselves and thus each other. And if they stay together for the kids, they're both miserable. And what example is this setting for their children? Do you want your children having that kind of a relationship? Weight gain is so accepted in the U.S. The big food companies love it. They put sugar in everything. Sugar is extremely addictive. And people in the U.S. are like living for comfort and pleasure. And eating is a pleasurable experience. And of course, when you're pregnant, they go through all these moods, so they self-medicate with food. I've done it. I know. I've done the same damn thing. I mean, I'm guilty of it, so I understand that. But you have a responsibility to your husband to take care of yourself and maintain your body as best you can. Of course, and your looks and your hair. I don't know when the last time I saw some girl in the United States brushing her hair. I had forgotten all about that. But it was a common thing to see back in the 80s and the 70s. Women would brush their hair. When I traveled to Mexico, in the U.S., in the airports, I did not see one woman brushing her hair, okay? But when I got to Mexico, I seen, actually the girl I was with, brushing her hair, and I remembered, God, when was the last time I saw someone in the States brush their hair? Even the stewardesses, their hair was like in the back kind of knotty, like they hadn't brushed it all day. I just don't get it, man. It's like we have lost, as a nation, our self-respect. No one dresses up hardly at all. I was the best dressed man in the airport, almost everywhere, except maybe for the pilots, because I wore a jacket and a nice shirt. When I was young, people dressed. My mom and all her friends went to the beauty salon once a week, got their hair fixed. They wore slacks or a skirt. They didn't wear tennis shoes all the time. Hey, I like tennis shoes, but everybody wears tennis shoes. Everybody's casual now, at least in the West and the U.S. You look at the stewardesses from Japan, from the Ukraine, from some of the other countries, they are sharp. Their hair is fixed. They walk straight up. They got makeup on. I don't like a lot of makeup, but at least some. But to make themselves look good, just like men. I've seen a few men in the airports, well, actually quite a few men in the airports that were really in good shape. Man, those guys stood out. I seen more men in shape than I did women who were sharp. So that tells you something. But it's just, we're just more and more programmed. And this guy that was making this post today was like saying, you should accept this. She's loving her kids. She's giving you children. Well, hey, she couldn't have those children without you. And guess what? You're the one that's going to support her and those children until those kids are 21 or 18 or whatever time they leave the house. So what about you as a man? Does that give you the right to just let yourself go, to become despondent and complacent about your life and your vision, your goals? No, it doesn't. So then on the other side of that, it does not give her permission to let herself go because she had a couple kids. Each partner needs to respect themselves, to take care of themselves. So when they get older, their knees don't go out because they've been carrying all this weight, health problems, diabetes, etc., etc., etc. I don't take any medications. I don't have to. Now, I'm not anti-doctor. When I broke my shoulder, I went, and I have gone to the doctor in the past when I've had some problems, okay? But most people my age have got 4 or 5 bottles of medication, and the doctors just do what they know. But you can be your own health care provider. You need to take care of your body when you're young so you don't have to pay the price later in life. People don't think about that. Don't eat for pleasure. Eat for necessity, for nutrition. I mean, I'm not saying you can't enjoy food because I do, but like with all things in moderation. So neither one of us, the man or the woman, should have a license to let ourselves go, either because we're working hard and we're taking care of the family, or because I've had kids and I got to take care of them and I'm not concerned about how I look for you anymore. And the man should not be saying, well, I'm not concerned about, my goals and my dreams. I'm providing for you as a family, and what more do I need to do? Because each of you, the man and the woman, were attracted to each other for these specific reasons. You liked her because she took care of herself, she put makeup on, she was pretty, she took care of her body, or whatever you were attracted to about her. She should continue those things during the marriage. And you, if she was attracted to you because you had a vision, a purpose, you had something bigger than yourself or herself, you should continue to pursue that. Too many times people get married or get together, live together, and they become complacent. Well, we got each other. They may not think it consciously, but that's what happens. I've done it. Complacency kills more marriages or relationships than anything else. The men think they got it all wrapped up, so what do they need to do? No, you need to maintain and continue to do the same things you did when you were dating. The woman does and the man does. It's an equal playing field, and you need to maintain the self-respect and the respect for each other. It's like this. Would you go to the bathroom in front of your woman? Would you come in there and have her come in there and sit down while you're taking a dump when you were dating her? Probably not. So should you do that when you guys are together? I mean, if that works for you, fine, but that doesn't work for me. I mean, I know we all have biological functions, but were you doing that when you're dating? The first time you took her out, would you like, hey, honey, I can go to the bathroom. Come on in here. I want to talk to you while I'm taking a shit. I don't think so. So we become comfortable and complacent. We need to maintain a certain mystique, how do I say, sensualness, or this same attitude that we had while we were dating. Of course, things change, but we become too comfortable. And then what happens? She goes out and finds somebody that she's not so comfortable with, that she's not so familiar with. I think sometimes we destroy our marriages or relationships because we spend too much time together. Society tells us that we got to be together all the time. The man has to be with the kids. The man has to be home every night. I think it works better if he's not there all the time. He appreciates her more. She appreciates him more. The father does not have to be in the home with the children every day. I have not been. It's worked out well for me. My kids admire me. They want to be like me. And they actually are doing the same things that I do. 3 of them are starting to box now. They've been working out Before that, they were working out with the weights. You know, more truth is caught than taught. So too, if you're with a woman who eats like a pig, or if the woman's with a man who eats like a pig, guess what? The children are going to pick up on that. And if you're overweight and he's overweight, your kids are probably going to be overweight. I see it in the US here. The problem is these children watch their parents comfort themselves with food and they do the same thing. Or if the parents comfort themselves with drugs or alcohol, the kids will do the same thing regardless of if, regardless of if you tell them not to do it. More truth is caught than taught. Be an example. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and that's so true. Your kids will watch what you do. They will learn from your actions, what you do, not so much from your words or what you tell them, unless that is congruent with your actions. You want your kids to be successful and ambitious, you be successful and ambitious. That's all I have time for today. Good to be back. Good to be back in the old USA, home sweet home. I had a wonderful time, but glad to be here with you guys today. And thank you to my 1,385 subscribers. Without you, I wouldn't be here. Take care.